the races are more divided today than any other time in the history of America, even with a black president. And I don't know what can be done about it. And will it ever turn around? I have with me Jane Elliott, and Jane is a former third grade teacher. She is an anti racism activist and educator featured on Oprah for her Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes demonstration. She's going to tell you all about that.
Martin Luther King Jr. had been one of our heroes of the month in February in my third grade classroom, and he was dead at the hands of an assassin. I hate to talk about this because every time I talk about it, I remember how it felt that day. I was going to have to go into my classroom and explain to my students why the adults in this country had allowed somebody to kill hope. Because Martin Luther King, for me, was hope for this country.
Jane, good morning and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really delighted to be here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so why did you find it necessary to teach kids about racism?
Because my dad would say, a fair thing is a pretty thing, and a right wrongs no man. Racism is wrong. You cannot treat people positively or negatively on the basis of the amount of chemical in their skin and not be wrong. It was wrong. It was in opposition to everything that I believed as a Christian, a practicing Christian. I'm practicing. Someday I'll have it right, but I don't have it right yet. But you cannot. There is no religion, as far as I know of, on the face of the earth that says it's all right to kill people because they have the wrong skin color or the wrong eye color or the wrong religion.
So you went into your classroom and you took these third graders, 8 and 9 years old, and you discriminated against the blue eye by being kind to the brown eyes, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was more than kind to the brown eyes. I was unkind to the blue eyes. Racism, and we got to stop calling it racism because there's only one race on the face of the earth. We are all members of the same race. We are all descendants of those first black females that evolved in sub-Saharan Africa between 140,000 and 280,000 years ago. So let's deal with the idea that there are 4 or 5 different races. There aren't. We are judging people on the basis of physical characteristics over which they have no control, and it makes no sense. It's time to start calling it what it is, which is colorism. There are 2,500 different skin colors on the face of the earth. I wonder who can come up with 2,500 different names for races. My students had to know that you do not treat people positively or negatively on the basis of the amount of chemical in their skin. They had to know how that feels in order to realize that they must not do that to another human being.
Did you just say that all people came from black people?
Absolutely.
And why do you say that?
Because that's a fact. That's the way it is.
And where's the fact?
The first modern human beings that evolved on this earth evolved in sub-Saharan Africa. They had extremely dark skin because of the amount of sunlight that they were exposed to. Their bodies produce more melanin. Melanin is a chemical that protects your cells from the damaging rays of the sun. And only when people started to move out of that area and move to where there was less sunlight, did their bodies produce less and less melanin. It's nothing but a biological fact. People who learned individuals know this. But we still perpetuate the idea of race. It's ridiculous.
Well, what if that's true? And I want to go back to the classroom here in a minute, but if that's true, what happened to the blacks that they're so corrupt and out of control right now?
They aren't corrupt and out of control, all of them. A few of them are.
No, not all. You're right. Most, not all. You're right.
Yeah. Well, let's quit saying, well, these blacks are out of control. But if I were being treated in this country the way black people are being treated, I'd be corrupt and out of control. I'd be out of control, and I'd be as corrupt as the white people are who are doing it to them. You cannot treat people badly. Well, I was teaching third grade, and when we went through that exercise, the thing that scared me the most about the exercise was the day those brown-eyed kids were on the top, they acted the way the white adults in their environment have taught them to behave. Robert Burns said, if some great power the gifts could give us to see ourselves as others see us, on that day I saw in my brown-eyed students who were behaving the way they had seen me behave, they were teaching me how I look to other people.
Tell the
I
folks
got an
what some of the
opportunity
things.
that day to see what.
Tell the folks what you did. Some of the things you did to discriminate against the blue eyes.
I made the blue-eyed people sit in the back of the room because everybody knows that blue-eyed people are disruptive and they can't learn anyways. They might as well sit in the back of the room. I made them go last in lunch line because, you know, if they go first, they'll eat too much. I made them I gave the brown-eyed people 5 extra minutes of recess because they're all so bright that they deserve all these good things. I made the blue-eyed people couldn't be role leaders for the day because obviously they couldn't be good leaders. You don't want a blue-eyed person leading you because all blue-eyed people are not to be trusted. I was absolutely amazed. I separated my group according to the color of their eyes. I made the blue-eyed people wear armbands, which is what the Nazis did to the Jews during the Holocaust. I treated them as we treat on a daily basis in this country people of color, or those with whom we disagree, or those who have a physical characteristic over which they have no control, which offends us. We treat them in an offensive manner, and I watched my brilliant blue-eyed students, some of whom I'm telling you, brilliant, become unable to learn. I watched brown-eyed dyslexic boys read words they had never been able to read before and spell words they had never been able to spell. And it was because for all of a sudden they had magic eyes, they could do no wrong. Everything they did that was right, I praised them for, and they couldn't do anything wrong because any problem they had was because they had to sit beside a blue-eyed person. Any mistake they made was because they had had blue-eyed teachers before me. And as one of my third grade students reminded me, every once in a while, well, you're blue-eyed, how do you know anything? I learned that you can tell somebody they're superior, treat them as if they are superior, and turn them into superior beings, superior learners, superior achievers. I learned that you can tell somebody they are an underachiever and that they are inferior, and they will live down to your expectations of them.
What did the
And that's what
parents?
we're doing in this country.
What did the parents say when they found out you had done this to their children?
Not a thing.
That's amazing. Because
No,
when I read this story, I was saddened by it because it seemed as though your overreaction to Martin Luther King assassination caused you to go into your classroom and traumatize other kids who had nothing to do with it.
That's nonsense.
How's that nonsense?
If it's nonsense to do this exercise based on eye color with a white child for one day, if that's traumatizing, what does it do to children of color if you do it with them pre-birth and after death for an entire lifetime? You want to talk about traumatizing?
But it's not right to make those kids suffer for something that other people are doing. One wrong doesn't make another one right.
To educate someone, the word educate, but I'm an educator. An educator, to educate someone means to lead them out of ignorance. My students were totally ignorant about racism, which is actually colorism. They were totally ignorant about that. They used the N-word indiscriminately because they had been taught that it was right to treat people that way and because they had never been on the receiving end of that treatment. They got educated that way in a way that changed the way they lived their lives to this day.
That's amazing.
And it changed the way their parents behaved in the home.
What is racism? What is racism?
Racism is treating people positively or negatively on the basis of the color of their skin and having the power to institutionalize your treatment and your behavior. Without power, racism wouldn't work, which is the reason white people are suffering from skin scare today. They are scared to death that people of color are going to become the numerical majority in this country, and they are, and that those people of color are going to want to treat us the way we have treated them.
But
we need to get over skin scare.
You notice that where blacks are taking over, Detroit, Baltimore, other Gary, Indiana, other urban areas, wherever these blacks are taking over, they are racist, and they are turning those areas into, just hell and damnation. Nothing good is coming from them taking over these cities. Have you noticed that?
I haven't. Wait a minute. We can use skin color as the excuse for what's happening in places like Detroit and deny the fact that we have taken the good jobs out of places like Detroit and sent them overseas to be done by people of color who will work for a whole lot less than union members will in the United States. If you have no opportunity for employment, it's very difficult to be pleasant.
But if that's the case, why is it that only blacks, because there are other cultures that live in this country, why are they the one going wild and killing each other and abortion out of control and out of wedlock birth? Why are they the only ones acting this way when there
They
are
are
other
not
cultures
the only
here?
ones acting this way. I don't know where you're getting your statistics. Blacks are not out of control.
Well,
as
what
a
other
group,
culture in
but
this
there
country
are,
that's out of control?
well, white culture.
How are they out of control?
They are causing people to live in conditions that they would not want to live in. They are allowing 1% of the population to have over 50% of the wealth in this country. They are sending jobs overseas, which should be done by people, all kinds of people in this country. We are using our power to maintain a state of war in many places in the world so that we can control oil. This is all about power. And we are doing with people of color in this country what we do with people of color all over the world.
If that's
Now,
true, how
we
do
aren't
you
the only ones to do
explain?
this. We aren't the only ones to do this. But this country is the one I live in and I'm responsible for. And I have to teach children of all ages that we must not allow the situation to continue in which we blame and in which we talk about a black problem. We don't have a black problem. We have a white attitudinal and behavioral problem. When white people
How do
get
you
over their
explain?
attitude toward people of color, that will solve the problem.
How do you explain? Well, two things I want to ask. One thing, the first is that had I been a parent and found out that you did that to my child, in the third grade, which is 8 or 9 years old, traumatized my child in that manner, I would have sued you and the school.
And you would have lost.
Why?
Because what would have happened then, if you had done that, what would have happened then, every black parent in the United States of America could have sued every school, private, public, and parochial, for the way their children are being treated in the classroom.
That's ridiculous.
If treating a child that way in the classroom gets you a lawsuit, then every black parent and every parent of color and every parent of a child who belongs to the LGBT group, every child who is a Christian has the right to sue the school.
So you feel nothing about what you did to those children?
I didn't do to those children. I did for those children.
By traumatizing them?
I didn't traumatize them. Are you traumatized by what's happened to you in this country?
Not at all. I was never traumatized. Let me tell
Are you
this.
black?
I am as black as the ace of spades. But let me ask you this.
If you're as black as the ace of spades and haven't felt any discrimination in this country, you're walking around with blinders and you're with your ears and your eyes and your nose closed.
Most of the discrimination I've had to encounter was from other black people. But let me ask, if what
where
you said...
Where do other black people learn to discriminate against black people?
From their black leadership.
Oh, you think so?
Without a doubt.
Does the black leadership run the television business in this country?
You don't have to. You don't need to run it if they can be a racist.
The churches in this country. You can't if you don't have a racist child. Put that child in front of television for several hours in a day. At the end of a month, you'll have a child who knows how to be a racist.
Let me ask you this: if what you're saying is true, when I was growing up, I grew up on a plantation. I'm 66 years old now. I grew up on a plantation. I grew up under the Jim Crow law down in Alabama. We had to work in cotton fields and doing all those things. Why do you hold on for a minute? I want you to answer this. Why didn't you see if what you're saying?
I'm not going to answer that until you answer this.
No, but hold on, Jane. Yeah, I'll answer that after you answer this. Are you a Christian?
Is that any of your business?
It is.
Are you a Christian?
I am 100%.
Well, then start acting like one.
You must be pretty upset at the radical homosexuals for going after the Christians and trying to force them to accept a lifestyle that goes against God and the Christian values. That is discrimination like none I've ever seen. So you must be pretty upset at those folks, right?
I'm pretty upset at Christians who say there's only one way to live. I'm pretty upset at Christians who say deny how God made you and become the way I will accept you. That's what I'm upset about.
Why do you think God made
I'm
homosexuals?
upset that Christians totally ignore God is love. They totally ignore judge not that you be not judged. They totally ignore insomuch as ye have done it unto one of these my children, so have ye done it unto me. They totally ignore the verses in the Bible which say, when you pray, do not pray on the street corner or in the synagogue as the Pharisees do, but when you pray, go into your closet and
Jay, are you
pray
upset?
to your Father in heaven, and He will answer you publicly.
Are
you
you
want to talk
upset
about
at
the
the
way Christians
radical?
are behaving?
Are you upset at the
those
radical?
are not radical ideas. Jesus was radical in his day.
Are you upset at the radical homosexuals for going after Christians?
I'm upset at radical Christians for going after homosexuals.
Oh, you got it wrong. You got it backwards.
Well, one of us has it wrong.
That's you.
Well, that's your opinion.
No, that's not true.
Everybody has an opinion. The opinions
Let me
are
ask you
easy.
this.
Everybody has.
Calm
Okay?
down.
Listen,
Calm down,
call
Jane.
somebody else.
Jane, calm down.
No.
How do you
You can call me
explain?
Ms. Elliott. Only my friends call me Jane. You
Jane.
can call me Ms. Elliott.
Jane.
And you've proven that you are not one of my friends. Okay?
Jane, you're out of control. Calm down. Let me ask.
Here.
Let me ask you.
No one
Hey.
says to me, you're out of control,
But
calm
you
down,
are.
because they don't like what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but I don't have time for this.
I
I
wa-
have other things to do.
Hold on,
Call
hold on.
somebody else. All
Hey,
right? Thank
hey.
you very much. It's been interesting.
She's running. She is running. Well, I be darned. That's her picture right there. Isn't she 80 something now? I believe she's 82. Get her back on the line, James. Tell her don't run. Lord. Tell her I'm black. Tell her I am black and not to run. You know what it is for when you're black and you don't go for the crap. They don't know what to do. She won't defend the Christians from the radical homosexuals. The unborn child from the baby killers. What an idiot. All right, folks. Have a good day. See what we're dealing with, a battle between good and evil. Talk to you tomorrow. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.